Hi, I'm meteorologist William Iwasco here at the National Weather Service office in Lubbock, Texas. Did you know that there's someone in this office 24/7, 365, making sure that we keep an eye on what's happening weather-wise so that you guys can stay safe when you're at home? Now, in order to do this, we rely on a lot of technology, from satellites that are way up in space down to more local things that we ask people to put out in their yards to measure how much rain has fallen across the area. All of these tools help make sure that we know what's happening around this area. Now, you're going to learn a little bit about weather watches and warnings and how to stay safe during severe weather. But before we get to that, first we have to talk about what actually drives the weather, and that's water. So to learn more about the water cycle, here's meteorologist Jen Daniel.
Thanks, William. Did you know that our oceans cover about 70% of the Earth's surface and hold over 97% of the water on our planet? Water is very important to weather. For one thing, without it, we wouldn't have clouds. The sun helps to power the water cycle, which starts with water on the Earth's surface evaporating, meaning it goes from a liquid to a gas. As it rises in the air, it cools and condenses, going from a gas back to a liquid, and makes clouds. When the cloud can't hold any more water, we see precipitation, bringing all that water back to Earth to start the process over again. Now that we know how water makes clouds, let's talk more about how a cloud becomes a thunderstorm. Meteorologist Harrison Sienkiewicz, take it away.
Thanks, Jen. Thunderstorms actually start as just a few small clouds, which often grow into puffy clouds called a cumulus as the day goes on. You may see rain from these, but it is the huge cumulonimbus clouds that make all the noise. These clouds might look like cauliflower on the edges and have a long, flat top called the anvil. Sometimes they even have a dome seen above the anvil, and this is called the overshooting top. An overshooting top is a sign that the storm could be severe. In fact, here's William to tell you what kind of severe weather might come out of a cumulonimbus cloud.
Yes, a thunderstorm can produce a lot or no severe weather at all. Now, when severe weather does occur, these are some of the hazards that you need to be careful of. Lightning, which can be hotter than the surface of the sun, can cause injury if you're outdoors. Hail can range anywhere from the size of a pea up to a softball or even larger, which can do quite a bit of damage if you're outside. Winds that blow just in a straight line can knock down trees or cause damage to power lines and homes. Tornadoes, which spin across the land with winds of 65 miles per hour or greater, and can do major damage to structures along its path. And finally, flooding, which is caused by very heavy rain. Now that you know what these hazards to be on the lookout for, let's learn how to stay safe from them.
At the National Weather Service, we issue watches and warnings to tell you when severe weather might happen and when it's definitely happening. To tell the difference between a watch and a warning, you can think of it in terms of baking a cake. A watch is like when you have the ingredients ready. The ingredients are coming together to make severe weather. You should be preparing and reviewing your safety plan. A warning is like the finished cake. The ingredients have come together and severe weather is happening. You need to act now. Remember, most days in West Texas are pretty nice, but we do have those days when the weather will be severe, and we want you to be prepared. First, we have a saying about lightning. When thunder roars, go indoors. This means that no place outdoors is safe from lightning. You should go into a house, school, or other well-built building and wait 30 minutes until the last thunder is heard.
When hail and winds start whipping out of a storm, you should be indoors. Make sure you stay away from the windows in case they break.
Speaking of being indoors and away from windows, that's where you'll want to be if a tornado is coming. In fact, you should find the lowest spot to the ground as possible and in the most interior room of your house.
If you're at school, you probably did a practice tornado drill. Always listen to your teachers during these so you know what to do at school during a tornado. Oh, and we haven't talked about flooding yet. Kids, it's never safe to play in floodwaters. The water might be moving fast and there could be things under the water that could hurt you. Also, tell your parents to turn around, don't drown. You never know how deep the water is, and it only takes a foot of flowing water to wash away your car. Speaking of parents, when you get home tonight, why don't you spend a few minutes talking as a family to make a severe weather plan? Know where your safe shelter will be and where to meet if you get separated.
Well, that wraps things up from here. Hopefully you've learned how to recognize and be safe from severe weather. Now, don't worry if you've forgotten something already. We are including a link to more information that'll help remind you about what you learned and also to explore some different topics that we didn't have time to explore. Also, there's a severe weather safety plan that you can sit down with your family and fill out, and then put it on your refrigerator so that you'll always know where your safe place is located. From all of us here at the National Weather Service office, we thank you for joining us.